We're on the third video for the first unit in 8th grade, which will be covering decimals. Once again, this is an outline of a review section. So if you need extra help on these problems, please let me know when you get to class. So when we're adding decimal numbers together or subtracting, it's important to remember that we want to line up the decimal places. When you're doing multiplying and dividing, you can also line up the decimal places. It's not mathematically incorrect, but there it's not as important the same way it is here. So for the first problem on the left, I'm going to go 5.3 on top, and then I'm going to go 18.88 on the bottom. Now the problem is there's a missing number here, so I'm going to add in a 0, and now our decimal points are lined up. So when I add the numbers, my decimal point comes down first, and now I just add it like any other normal problem. So 0 plus 8 is 8. 3 plus 8 is 11. This will be 14. And so 24.18. All right, just like that. On the problem on the left, when we're subtracting, we also want to line up the decimal places. Now this one, we have to make sure the 7.42 is on top. And then we'll go 6.9 on the bottom, but we have a missing 0, so we'll add it in here. So I go 2 minus here. 2 minus 0 is 2. Now I can't subtract this, so I have to borrow. So I get 5. My decimal point goes there, and this is a 0. So I can write this as either 0.52 or just 0.52. Nothing wrong with that. I want you to try these on your own, and then I will work through them. For the first one, I'm going to line up the decimal places as such. And I'm adding. So this is 8, 9, 6, and 13. So I get 13.698. Whoops. Ignore that. There we go. Now for the one on the left, we're going to have to add in a couple zeros. And this becomes 4.257. So I'm going to have to make this a 0, make that a 9, and that'll be a 10. So 3, 4, got to borrow again, 8, 3. So 3.843 is the correct answer here. Okay, if you have questions, please let me know. So, when we are multiplying decimals together, we do not have to add up the decimal places. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one that has less decimal places and put it on the bottom. So I'm going to go 4.22 and 6.3 goes on the bottom. Now, I'm going to count the number of decimal places. So this is 1, 2 decimal places here, and this says 1 decimal place there, for a total of 3 decimal places. And then I ignore them as if they don't exist. So then I'm just going to multiply, and I'll get 6, 6, 12, 12, from there, 13 from there, and 25 there. I add it up, and I get 6, 8, 5, 6, and 2. Now this had 3 decimal places, so I take my number, I start here, and I move it to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. And it goes right there. So I rewrite this as 26.586. And that's our answer. Now, you may be asking, what if I forgot and I lined up the decimal places like I did on the earlier problem? And you will actually still get the same answer. So let me show you that. Let's say I put the 6.3 on top this time, because that's what most of us would do if we forgot. And then I do the 4.22 on the bottom, and I'm going to add in a 0 right here. So now I count up the decimal places, but now I have 2, and I have 2 on the bottom for a total of 4. So I'm going to change colors here. So now I'm just going to multiply it out like I did before, pretending these decimal points aren't there. So 0 times 2, 0. 2 times 3, 6. 2 times 6, 12. So are we getting something different? That's a 0. That's a 6. That's 12. And finally, the last one, we get 0, 12, and 25. So this is a 0, 6, 8, 5, 6, and 2. But now I move that decimal place 4 times from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I end up there. And so I get 26.5860, which we should know at this point means the same thing as 26.586. So if you forget and you line up the decimal places, you're adding a step, but you will still get the same answer. So if you need to write that down, pause the video, but I'm going to erase it so I have room for the problem on the right. So for this one, I'm going to write down 71 and 88. And I'm going to go 1, 2 decimal places total. And now I'm just going to multiply. 1 times 8 is 8. 7 times 8 is 56. Or as my friend 50 Cent would say, 56. Here I'm going to put in 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 7 is once again 56. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. 12. And I move the decimal place 1, 2. So I go right there. And so I rewrite this as 62.48. And there you go. We got one more. I want you to try these two on your own, and then I will work them out. Okay, so this, I'm going to do these pretty quickly, since I'm hoping that you worked them out already. And as always, if you have questions, make sure you bring them to class. Two, 13, 13, 73.32. Okay. This one, I am going to do it correctly, I guess, or the shorter way. If you lined up the decimals and added a 0, you should get the same answer. Total of 3 decimal places. 24, 30, 7, 30, 38, and 8. I add it up. 4, 0, 5, 9. So 9.504. If you have questions, please bring them to class.